Hello everybody and welcome to the After Hours Podcast number 16. My name is Dave, number 2 without Ollie. Thank you all for listening along to what this is about to become. We have no idea. This is one of the joys of the After Hours Podcast. There should be more liquor.
Where's the...
Wait. I didn't buy any because I'm such a rush. I didn't buy any liquor. We should start having liquor in this
These
podcast.
things could have had liquor?
Yeah, I could have because Ollie doesn't drink.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm me getting drunk, and it's just not that fun if one person's drinking, the other one's not. So.
What we do is we need to pre-drink heavily while he's not here before he gets here. And
here on the D20 Multiverse, we do not condone drinking excessively. Make sure you do it in moderation, and make sure you do it in a safe environment.
In a workplace, it's not appropriate to be intoxicated, so we like to get to that nice line where you're just like happy, happy.
Anyway, just to finish the introduction, my name is Dave. With me, I have again Jason. This is the second one in a row you're on.
Oh my god!
I know.
Oh my god!
Yeah, you were on with Julia about a fortnight ago. Do you remember that one?
Yes.
Yes, you were on that one. Woo! And we also have Tom.
Hi.
American
Yes.
Tom. American Ollie, apparently. Everyone is an Ollie. Alright, so you were not Ollie.
Not Ollie.
Julia was girl Ollie.
Yeah.
You were American Ollie.
Ollie.
The Max one I just did, which will be released if you're hearing this. If you're listening to this on iTunes, thank you. You're hearing this before the videos, the NPCs is out. And I would love and adore you because this is the way you should be indulging this content. He's called Skater Ollie.
Wait, Skate Ollie?
Skater Ollie. There was a joke about Tony Hawk and it ended up being Skater Ollie.
God.
So, because he was just going to call himself Max Ollie. It's like, it doesn't really work.
Yeah.
Doesn't really work. But, these are the replacements for Ollie while he was gone.
I'm actually genuinely interested in the anti-Daves, like what they would be.
It would just be Julia. I can so see him just getting Julia the entire time I'm gone, if I'm gone for a month.
But like also every episode that she's on should be named differently for each one.
Ooh.
And plugging a podcast at the same time. That's one comment we got with every episode. Is that for some reason that she said it one too many times for my liking, and someone picked up on it in the comments and said, "Oh, she just plugged a podcast the whole time." It's like, yeah, I know.
Oh my god! I mean, I didn't even think of plugging my podcast. I mean, it hasn't been started. I haven't really thought about doing one. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah. What about our co-podcast that we haven't even constructed?
Yeah, like it's barely a concept, but like it's a dream, guys.
It's being born the first time you two have actually met.
No,
we've met a few times. Yeah.
We are aware of each other's existence.
You lived here and you were like, you should buy a Switch. And I was like, I should buy a Switch.
Yeah, that sounds like me.
So this is the longest conversation you guys have actually had not about a Switch.
Speaking of, if Nintendo would like to give me money for telling people that they should buy a Switch,
shouldn't we get the money? This is our podcast.
Hashtag tweet Jason Nintendo.
I mean, that's another common thing that people, like, I don't know if you realise that, everyone that comes on, and you got this as well.
I did, I saw that. Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan does.
Yeah.
Because the joke is, Ollie wanted Matt Mercer to tweet him. So he tried to start a hashtag, tweet Ollie Mercer. No one tweeted it.
Yeah.
And ever since then, he was a bit bitter about it. Every guest came on, people kept on posting. There was tweet Jason Mercer, and there was tweet Tom Mercer, and then it was tweet Julia, and I'm bound to be tweet Max Mercer one as well, and it was hilarious.
I love it.
It's a funny joke, and I know he's just like, oh, damn it. But just want to go back to the Julia about plugging. We've got no problem with that, and you should definitely go support her content. She runs a D&D podcast, and it definitely it's a mutual kind of collaboration there. We're small fucking guys just trying to make some content on the internet and get people to laugh and enjoy. So I didn't mean to. It may come across me bashing that, but definitely go support it if you can. If you like D&D. Yeah, I just wanted to say that just in case she kills me.
Is it time for me to plug my podcast?
Do you have a podcast?
No, I don't.
No, then what are you plugging?
I'll figure it out one day.
You come back.
It'll come in the editing. The editing will just... Here it is right here.
Plugging in the microphone for our first podcast.
This is our first podcast.
It just happens to coincide.
This whole After Hours concept that I came up with, it was just everyone that was involved in the channel sitting around and just gasbagging for a while. And for a while, it was just me and Ollie. Because we initially started as a video podcast in the earlier ones, and we did have a collaboration, but it was a lot of work.
Yeah, I was going, where's the hidden camera?
Yeah, and it wasn't exactly what I wanted it to be. It's the wind outside. But with this kind of Ollie going away and getting other people on, I think I want to bring that back. But maybe not the video side of it. Maybe one day if we get enough Paterons. Thank you all our Paterons. Lovely. We'll have more conversation about that later.
I guess it depends on how much the audience wants to see faces. Maybe they might.
Well, I wanted you to become like a third co-host, and your schedules are so all over the place. It's hard to lock you down.
Like, I'm totally open to it. I mean, if somebody donated enough to Patreon so that Jason didn't have to work at his job all the time.
Do you honestly think you would get it? I do a fuckload of editing.
Who knows? They might be like, they watched the one episode I was in. Don't they? They're like, that guy needs to be full-time.
Yeah, but that's one thing we're going to do from now on, hopefully, is that every time we do a podcast, we bring someone along. Whether it's Julia, whether it's someone that's been on the channel before. We'll try and keep that running of the D20 Afterhours for only people that have been on our channel before can be on this podcast. So that's the rule. So you've been on it, I've been pointing at them. No one can see that because it's a podcast, but I'm pointing at them. Julia will be on it, Max will be on it. He wanted to be on it today. That's the most recent person that was on NPCs, but his schedule didn't match up. So
just for the official record, I just wanted to note it. I was pointed at second, and it hurt my feelings.
Can you...
Nobody really cares.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah. I don't know. Do I deserve to be empowered? That's the question.
Ooh. I think you guys are putting too much weight on this podcast. To be honest. It's just people sitting around the table.
We deserve to be empowered.
Yeah. Anyway, so Tom.
Oh.
You are an American.
Yes.
Who lives in New Zealand.
Yeah.
Explain.
Explain.
Interrogation time.
Where's the lamp?
You came here before the Trump administration, so we know it's not bad.
Yeah.
As a lot of people threatened to move to New Zealand. That was a big thing.
Oh my god! Did you come here because of Obama?
No, I didn't. I felt here.
Bush?
There was a.
You fell here?
I felt here. No, I fell from the heavens. No,
really? Sorry, angel.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I felt a calling, and it was this particular podcast we're recording right now. I knew it would happen. Okay. And it was like a butterfly effect, kind of like Ashton Kutcher.
So you waited 16 episodes to be on the podcast?
Yes.
When you on like the second one?
I think so.
Yeah, I think you were one of the early day ones.
Yeah.
Shut up.
I mean, I did notice that you actually hadn't plugged in the computer into the power, and a lightning bolt struck down into the power, just like it was a beckoning from the gods.
Here I am.
So I try and make a legit conversation happen. Doesn't happen.
No, never.
I have been on these podcasts. There is no legit conversation.
There is no structure. It's pretty much we ban for a while, then we read out an email from James.
We get on a good topic and we tangent hard.
Exactly. And that's the point.
So keen for a tangent. Let's go.
Right. So American in New Zealand. Yep. Explain.
Just family. My mother's Kiwi, and so we moved over here.
But you got an American accent. So how long were you in America before you came?
15 years. So I'm 21 now.
Oh.
Yeah.
So it's 6 years?
Youngin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like you've lost it, but to me it doesn't seem like it, but probably to an American there's probably some kind of inflection.
The mannerisms get quite on. Like I had an electrician show up to my house today to replace the light bulb because home and properties won't allow you to
Actually,
replace
on that
the light
note,
bulb.
did the guy show up today?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Was that all good?
Yeah. I was kind of like...
You forgot, didn't you?
No. I
You forgot. So just to add some context, we're going to have like a construction guy coming around on Tuesday who messaged us last week, and I noticed the place was a mess. I was like, oh, I've forgotten, and I don't have time to clean up.
Yeah, I knew you would have gotten ready for work, seen the house, went, oh shit, and left, and then I got up, looked around the house, went, oh shit, and then quickly did what I could, and then they're knocking on the door. I'm like, I'm just going to have to live with this. Open the door to what I thought was one builder, and in comes 5 builders.
Holy shit.
It was like builders, plumbers, like
a kaggle of like
it was basically the A-team. Like, I want you to
construction A-team.
Exactly that. The construction A-team, but if the 5th person was the van. Like, personified.
That was the van.
That was what happened. They came in here, they got into they were like, alright boys, we'll go do this, and this, and the other like, oh yeah, we'll do this, and this, and this, and this, and then, there's pointed at things that, oh yeah, and they said a whole bunch of jargon, which I did not realize there is the amount of building jargon. Like, I knew a few kinds of wood, and then it just stopped. Like, any kind of concept, like,
I know a few concepts of wood. I
know, and that's about it.
We managed to come up with a lot of t-shirt ideas on this freaking podcast.
Yeah.
I come from a family of builders. I'm the freaking like black sheep of the family. Like my dad's a welder, admittedly, but all his brothers.
The term is disappointment.
Disappointment. Yeah. I'm the disappointment.
Don't worry, I'm the disappointment of my family.
Hey, high five.
That's why we do a podcast.
That's why we do a podcast.
We don't contribute anything to society.
Yeah. Buy avocado toast instead of buying houses.
Yeah.
My flatmate genuinely came home with an avocado. We just turned to her and went, how are you going to afford rent this week? What's going on?
But like, but like, it's amazing how much I just don't know. And clearly, like, I feel like after watching these guys come in, say all this shit about the house and what they need to do and and they left, I feel like I really need to reconnect with my family. Because honestly, I clearly just don't know much about their lives.
my brother's a plumber. I think that's the closest to that story I can get. Anyway, Tom, your story.
Where were we?
We were talking about something about construction because that's why.
Ellis just showed up to my house, and I just caught myself going like, "Oh, that's mean, eh?" Like all the colloquialisms.
I think it's mean as.
Oh,
it's mean as, not mean as.
Oh, mate, it's mean as, eh? Whoa, crikey!
Oh, that's crikey. That's Australian.
You see that word?
Yeah, but you can steal it as a Kiwi. I think when you want to use it.
No, Australia steals from us. We don't do it the other way around. That's a rule in this country. They stole Russell Crowe. We were happy with that after he started throwing phones. We were complaining before that happened. But Pavlova was ours. They stole it.
What about Farlap?
What's Farlap?
Do you not know what? You know what Farlap is?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's the very famous racing horse.
Ah. Yeah. What other things have Australia stolen from us?
Pavs.
They kind of stole our flag. Didn't we come up with our flag first, or was Australia came up with flag? Because they're very similar, so someone would have done it first.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like we did ours first because our stars look like normal stars, and theirs are drunk as hell. Like they went, okay, guys, I'm thinking stars, and they're like, oh, but the Kiwis have them, and they're like, we're just having a big fuck off. Lots of spiny bits. I don't know how much you need, but a big fuck off star in the corner here.
What? The Kiwis have got 4 stars. We need 2 more or 3 more. Don't remember, just throw stars in it. That's pretty much what happened.
Yeah.
And ours are red, and they're like.
And after they got sued by the United States for having too many stars, they cut it back.
Because I think they've got an amount of stars according to the states. So, like, how many states of Australia is how many stars they have, just like the United States.
Oh, really?
Well, because you got Tasmania. Let's try and see our Australian geography.
Ooh.
Yeah, we've got Tasmania.
Yes.
We've got Queensland.
Yes.
You've got Northern Territories.
Yeah.
We've got
just while you're still
South
thinking.
Australia.
Yeah.
Northern Territories and like actually no, carry on because these are hilarious names. Carry on.
Okay, so in Northern Territories, Tasmania, Queensland, South Australia,
Auckland.
Oh, kind of right. We kind of disown Auckland, but no. There must be another one. Western Australia.
Western Australia.
Must be some more.
The Gold Coast.
Okay.
Do you know what state is Americans?
I always do this by like mental image. You've got like the slice on the side, that's Western Australia. You got the weird cubey bit at the bottom, that's South Australia. You got the Northern Territories, which is the dumbass bit in the top, and then you've got that side one that people care about.
In Tasmania.
I didn't even know Australia had states until into my 20s. Really, because I never went to Australia.
Okay, well let's just confirm one thing right now. All of us collectively know where Cuba is, right?
Yeah. It's,
that joke is a throwback to the fact Ollie didn't know where Cuba was.
Oh yes, that's true. I don't remember.
All right, of course, New South Wales, Western Australia, Queensland, South Australia, Victoria, Tasmania.
Gold Coast.
Gold Coast is not a state. You name all the states of America, Mr. Cocky over here.
Oh, that'll take the podcast and a half right there.
So, when you go over to Queensland, you get a bit drunk, you have a good rowdy night, you do leave it in a state.
Hey!
I've got a big
So now that we've disowned every Australian listener.
Man.
So wait, there's 1,
I'm
2, 3, 4, 5.
So
Central Australia is a state. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Central Australia?
Oh, no, sorry, that's wrong. That was just the proposed states back in 1927. Sorry, this is what Google does to you.
I'm glad we're getting to our 1927 geography.
So 1, 2, 3,
hypotheticals of
4, 5,
Australia.
6, 7. Yeah, so Western Australia, Northern Territory, South Australia, Queensland, New South Wales, Victoria, and Tasmania. And I think...
Without looking at your phone, can you tell us that to us again?
Yeah, sure. Nah, this is boring now.
The thing I love is, clearly at some point, someone was like, all right, let's call this place New South Wales. It's like Wales, like the south of Wales. Like it's different. So
okay,
it's the
you
new
realise we're
south
called
of Wales.
New Zealand.
Yeah.
It was an old Zealand in Europe, alright? So you making fun of this
And I'm
is
just-
pretty much making fun of us.
I'm just saying, like, clearly, people who named that also came up with New Zealand and dumbass crap like that.
Like
but
Newfoundland.
some other guy decided, look, this is just taking too long. I know you're looking different places in Europe that you want to say this is new of, but we don't have time for this, okay? That stuff's in the west. It's Western Australia, okay? They're in the north. They're Northern Australia. We don't like Northern Australia. Fine, Northern Territory. Fuck, just whatever, okay? I don't even care. Like...
I like it. Like, you think of the people that colonise Australia as just really fed up dads. Just like, screw this shit. Let's just name them. But I mean, that was the same in America. You got New York, named after York.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty much.
But it's new.
everywhere.
Well,
It's new.
I mean, like New Zealand, North Island, South Island, except I guess the difference is
Yeah.
one,
We're
they were
lazier than
too.
Australia.
One, I think the one they were lazy about it too, and two, they're like, hey, North Island, and more like, we've named these already. What are they? That's garbage. I have no idea what you've said. I'm English in the 1820s or whatever. I don't care what you said.
Yeah, so
this is now the North Island.
That's the South Island. And Stuart, you can fuck off to that island. Down in the south, we'll call that Stuart Island. Only Stuart can be on it.
Only Stuart.
We do have 3 islands in New Zealand. It's North Island, South Island, and there's Stuart
We're
Island.
actually really good for miscommunicating the amount of something we have. Like,
Yeah, you have-
it appears
you
we
have
have
more
2
than
islands because of North and South, but there is a 3rd island down there further.
There's also little islands.
Oh, and the little
There's
the
tiny little
crab
islands around New Zealand, but the major ones are the North Island, South Island, and Stuart Island. Stuart's just that cousin that no one talks about.
The black sheep of the family.
That's the disappointment of New Zealand to Stuart Island.
Rotorua, right? Just if you break down the word, means 2 lakes, or second lake, really.
Yeah.
So when you go to Rotorua, you assume, they have 2 lakes, right? Because when they talk about the story of Rotorua, he found one lake, he found another one, they found the thing around it. Yeah. There are 14! 14!
Look, he may have only saw 2 at the time when he named it. Then he was like, it's too late, I've committed to this.
This is what it is now.
It's 2. I get the other 12. But there's 2.
They're the only 2 that matter.
This conversation is obvious. It must have come up more than once. You're like, there's many more of them. I don't want to talk about it.
Look, shut up, Stuart. Get back on your island. Get on your island, Stuart. The party killer of New Zealand is just a guy called Stuart. That's why we pushed him off to a little island at the bottom of the country.
You Kiwis have a lot of things that really confuse me.
Okay, go. How about this? How about we judge you now?
Okay, all right, here we go. All right, so up in Auckland, there's One Tree Hill, right?
There's no tree on it
There's
anymore.
no tree.
There was a tree.
It had a tree. It had a tree. It had one tree. And because it was
dying. I think it was. Or something.
No. It's been attacked several times. It's not a native tree.
Oh.
I think it was a planted tree of some kind.
Oh.
And people were lots of Māori activists were pissed off about it, and a lot of other groups were pissed off about it. So people have attacked the tree multiple times, and eventually somebody did. I think somebody either managed to chop it down or do enough damage that it had to become.
Yeah, so it's just gonna die.
So it's like the bucket fountain here in Wellington. Like, people keep stealing the buckets every few years.
Oh, no. That's different. That is the natural selection of buckets.
Oh, I see.
For the bucket fountain.
That makes so much more sense.
The natural order of buckets is if you survive long enough, you get to breed more buckets.
It all started when Elijah Wood pissed in it. That's actually true.
Is it actually?
It's actually true. Elijah Wood pissed in the bucket fountain.
Learn
That's how it all
something new
started.
every day.
But we have a lot of weird things in New Zealand. Like there's a Mount Wellington in Auckland.
Yeah.
And we're in Wellington, like the city here, and that doesn't make any sense. But I
mean, what is it? Victoria University is on not on Mount Vic.
Yeah.
Which I find kind
well,
of
they're changing the name now.
Yeah,
so
it's
in New
Zealand,
Zealand. There was a
Wellington.
huge Wellington controversy that they have the university in Wellington called Victoria University, and it's been that way since the dawn of the University of Victoria.
I'm pretty sure it was the second thing negotiated on the Treaty of Waitangi. Like next one down was, hey, we want a university in Wellington, and it's got to be called Victoria University.
We should explain what the Treaty of Waitangi is. This is like our way of informing New Zealand, the world.
No. This forces the listeners to go and look everything up.
No. This is 2018. People don't like to do research.
Oh, that's true. I didn't think of that.
I thought Twitter would have taught you anything. Your knowledge is your feelings. All right,
that's all that matters.
That's all that matters. But the Treaty of Waitangi,
intelligence is everything.
Yeah, the Treaty of Waitangi is like a founding document in New Zealand of a peace treaty between the Māori people and the colonizers, I guess, Europeans.
The Europeans.
But the Europeans.
Well, it's technically the Crown. It's actually technically
the Crown. But we. I wouldn't say we because I
specifically
have part of it.
For Commonwealth users, the Crown, the Queen of England.
The Queen of England.
That Crown.
And they're kind of dicks about it because speaking two languages, and Māori didn't actually have a written language before we came along.
Māori was a very it was a spoken language, and there was work done with some. I can't remember the names of the Māori involved.
There was a lot of different
that helped shape the written language, which is why it very much uses similar vowel sound systems. Like they divided it up in the same way that English would. To try and make sense of it, but I think the main problem was that Māori words...
You're part Māori, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And very badly erased on that, though.
I was just to bring credit, so it's not just me
about it. I bring this up because I care about it. I'm just not very...
Well, we all care about it. It's just the Crown screwed the Māori during that treaty.
It was mainly Māori words... Like, you know how in English often you have 500 goddamn words that mean the same kind of thing with maybe a little bit of nuance one way or the other.
Yeah, no.
Māori is kind of the the other way around. There's lots of words that have multiple different meanings within context, and also those meanings could be a lot more broad than what an English person might assume that meaning would mean.
Yeah.
So some things
I've never seen it that way.
Yeah, so some things that when they were talking about sovereignty, they meant over their land and more the Māori thought they were retaining control over everything of theirs, and they were probably in some cases thought they were being able to be self-governed, while the British meant you get to be an English citizen, and that's all cool, and you get to be yourself and stuff. And
it was very controversial, and it sucks to have that kind of blight on our history of a reason. I mean, I like to think we're slowly moving on from that and still going through the works of getting that right. But we're never going to be able to move on.
I think New Zealand's a very progressive company.
A company. We're the company of New Zealand.
Actually,
the corporation.
That is also in history as well, because that was the New Zealand company was a company specifically trying to sell land to the British.
Oh, really?
Really early on. They probably caused half the bloody problems that we've had.
But over time it's got better, but it's not going to be perfect. And I don't think it's going to be perfect until we're a republic. So that Treaty of Waitangi is no longer valid.
You know how the United States has their... you've got the Declaration of Independence, and there's parts of it that people they don't like. And they like to talk about it a lot. Or they like to say that certain things are super amazing and must be upheld.
Because when you write a document in the 1700s, everything's going to hold up.
Everything counts,
It's going to hold up.
Most of our legislation in New Zealand is actually built up over multiple laws and bills, not really a single constitution. And a lot of them do, more and more are referencing back to the Treaty of Waitangi and upholding the ideals behind the Treaty of Waitangi. But there are a lot of things that still don't, and they're still working on. But there are people in politics who don't believe that the Treaty of Waitangi is a founding document, don't think we should have to uphold it, and things like that. And it's really ruthless kind of...
I see it, when I say founding document, I don't think New Zealand didn't exist before that document. I think just that what New Zealand evolved into was because of that document. But it doesn't necessarily mean that document's a good thing. It's just how we've evolved as a culture, as New Zealanders, and that's why we have Waitangi Day. It's your form of independence, Americans' forms of Independence Day as the Waitangi Day, and it's heavily contested. I don't think it's ever going to go away until we're a republic, until the Treaty of Waitangi is no longer going to exist.
Well, it's a weird catch-22 too. I think I think it's not. I think it's unhealthy to get rid of the treaty. I think because the ideals behind the treaty, I think it's important to be clear on the ideals of what the treaty stood for. That unification between Māori and English, and in the same way that they were both supposed to be moving forward.
Yeah.
Because I think there was definitely most of the biggest problems that have come out of the interaction between Māori and English have been misinterpreting the treaty and governments doing things without, which is common across the globe, unfortunately, with English-based governments, is
colonies, I believe the term is.
doing stuff without really taking into consideration the people, indigenous people who think, like when they took bunches, like Māori have donated land all the time to the government for lots of different reasons, and one of them was to do army bases during World War II, I think it was, to help defend New Zealand. So the government built army bases on these locations, and then when they would they didn't need them anymore, they gave the land away to soldiers coming back from war, and the Māori were like, well, hold up. We should have this land back if you're not using it. I mean, you've probably got other land you can give these guys. Like, why are you giving away this land that we literally gave you for the common good?
Yeah.
And so they've been fighting for those kind of things. And
that makes sense. I
lots
agree.
of seized land
fight for
atrocities.
that, because at the end of the day, it was a dick move.
Yeah, I think because I did a whole paper on the Māori's connection to land, as well as the British kind of not destroying but tainting that connection, because everything is considered Tonga. What isn't anymore and what is and everything. And I think New Zealand as a whole is a lot more progressive in comparison to, like, say, America with the Native Americans. Like, Māori language is pushed in every school. Māori language is very predominant. Māori culture is very predominant.
It can be better, though. I agree.
No, it can definitely be better, but, like, yes, it is definitely...
By comparison, it's so much better.
Yeah.
You know?
I found
it's so much better.
Just on a side note, I found out mate recently. You know, you have
Oh,
mate.
yes.
Mate means death in the Māori. So
Really?
when someone
Well, I
says
think
kia ora mate, they're saying kia ora death.
Really?
I'm not sure if it's, like...
Or hello death. So kia ora means hello in Māori. So when you're saying kia ora mate, you're actually saying hello death.
Oh, okay.
Well, is it mate or mate?
Wow.
I'm not
It's
sure.
probably the pronunciation is mate, but it's spelled mate.
Yeah. Because that's what I like. Because I think a Coca-Cola vending machine had Pura Mate on it.
Yeah.
And if you just read it as Māori, it's saying hello death.
Yeah.
And some people have turned around and gone, actually, that seems quite accurate,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah. Hello death. Give me a sugary drink. Yeah, I didn't even know that. It will be mate. It'll be mate.
Yeah.
Because how Māori is pronounced, you kind of split it. It's either one word, it's one letter, or it's two letters.
It's very similar to the...
And you put a line for it. So you put so mate is spelled M-A-T-E. So in the Māori pronunciation, you'll put a slash. It will be M-A because it comes with a vowel, and you slash it, and then T-E because the E is a vowel as well. So ma-te.
It's a similar pronunciation system to Japanese, actually.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's very similar.
There's some exceptions. But
That's how I learned, because it goes A, E, O, U. So that all those, and then you go M. So you go M. So it'll be either M A, M E, and all the vowels right next to it. You never get like an M and a T together in Māori language or something like that.
Written. NG or
NGA,
there's certain ones, but
there's certain exceptions to that rule, but that's like the general concept.
It's not. But they're very simple vowel systems.
Yeah.
Rather than,
That's very similar to Japanese, like re, ru, so forth and so on.
So when I was in school, I learned how to speak. Māori to a degree. So I can count to 10. So tahi, roa, toru, wha, rima, ono, whetu, waru, iwa, tako.
Oh, you did the whole thing.
But
geez.
then this is what pissed me off. Back in school, to count upwards, you go tako ma tahi. So tako means 10, and tahi means 1. So that would be 11.
Yeah.
But then, whoever does the stupid language created brand new words for 11, 12, and 13.
Yeah, no.
So I don't know if it's actually 13, but 11 and 12.
Wait,
so
so
I don't know what 11 and 12 is anymore.
Oh, so they've been changed.
They've got a unique word. That's how we say like 11. You know how they say 21.
Yeah.
But we say 11 to say 11.
Yeah.
So they created a new word to say 11 in Māori instead of just te ko ma tahi.
I think they've also simplified some of the because when you're doing te ko ma tahi, you've got a lot to say for something for a small piece of information, and I think they've changed a few things. Like so,
So I don't even know how to speak to
some of that has changed.
South 10 anymore, and I was so proud of that because I didn't grow. My family didn't speak Māori around the house, so all the Māori I learned was at schooling or outside.
Yeah, I get that. Like I speak Spanish. I spent 4 years learning Spanish, and it's very much the same sentiment where they change everything based on the context of the phrase, the context of everything.
Yeah.
So it's like they changed some of the words. Somewhat recently, within the past 10 years, so that the context has changed. So instead of being masculine or feminine for every word, you just say the word.
Oh, okay. So it's more neutral.
Yeah. So for like saying, like I am a boy is I have boy is yo tengo chico, right? But if to say you have girl, it's tu tenga chica. You see how there's like the difference?
Totally.
Yeah. So it's A's and U's and
Jason,
everything.
did you notice any difference?
Yeah. This is.
I don't know.
I think that's actually I find kind of interesting. There was a one of those TED Talks. I think at the moment we're in TED Talk hell, where most TED Talks have slowly become like just people anecdotally saying things on a stage.
It is.
But
I totally thought I was the only one with that, and I thought maybe I'm missing a point.
They used to be really great, and now just
anyone
seems to be doing it.
Yeah.
Like, no offense to those who are actually really legit and doing really hard for those kind of things, but they're doing.
But for the other guys,
the frequency of TED Talks have increased so much that I think the quality levels dropped a bit. But there was one. There's one that described masculine and feminine speaking systems that could change the way they describe things or the way they use language, because they may, like, if they treat a piece of architecture in a masculine sense, you might say a bridge is strong or things like that. But if your system treated it in more of a feminine sense, you might say it is a beautiful bridge and things like that. So, like, it's very interesting how they can shape your language and theoretically shape how you express yourself or how you think things.
That's really cool because it's understanding the language and comprehension is obviously two different things. But I was having this discussion with my girlfriend last week where it's like, in terms of, well, we've gotten to a point in the world as gender is, on a spectrum, and, these kind of speaking languages are kind of, the ideal is they're becoming outdated. And it's like, how would I describe someone based on their gender if I don't know it? And in Spanish, the default is masculine. Everything ending with O, everything ending with E, so forth and so on. But it's almost at a point where it's like, should it just be one side of the language or the other?
I think it's going to get too tricky, because if you start doing that, it means everyone's going to offend everybody based on how they talk. And talking is very subconscious. It's a very... You never, like, just saying words, you don't always think about every single... Because I'm a victim of this all the time. You don't think about every single word you say. You sometimes just say words. And...
Thank you, guys. Thank you. That was a great review of this podcast.
Yes, exactly.
Can you clip that for me?
Yeah. Sometimes you just say words. But the thing is, what I'm trying to say is, like, when you're in a conversation, you just hang a go backwards and forwards. You don't overthink that word to make sure you're phrasing it right, especially if you're raised a certain way. The only way that will change is if you grow up with that ingrilled in you, and then from a subconscious level you be able to do it. The only way to change it is to let society evolve in that way naturally instead of force it. The minute you start forcing it, that's when you're going to start having problems.
Organic.
Yeah, it has to be organic. Just like any language, it's always evolved organically. You never have a forced language re-evolved in some way.
Yeah.
So if they do want that end goal, make moves and say, this is what the way you should do, and then people will start thinking about it, but don't punish people all the time for getting it wrong. And that's because I'm a victim of... I won't say I'm a victim. I think that's a terrible word to say, and it's definitely a victim like that. Forget I said that word, but
Use a synonym. God damn it.
No, I've just got a bad habit of not addressing people by how they want to be addressed, especially when it comes to pronouns. And I don't mean any offence by it at all. I'm a completely full supporter of it, but I do catch myself using the wrong pronoun once in a while. But luckily we're in a country where a lot of people are understanding when that happens. But if I get punished every time I do it, that's going to suck, because I'm not great at it, and I'm trying, but I'm not going to be perfect, and I'm going to say that right now, I'm not going to be perfect.
I think for the most part, at least from people I know, they can be relatively forgiving, or in the sense that, like, they understand that or at least in my case, that if I've made the mistake, I'm not doing it maliciously.
Exactly.
It's the people who are intentionally misgendering somebody or directing them in a way that's like just out of spite.
I know someone that believes that addressing someone by how they want to be addressed means you're approving on their choice. Or not choice, but their way of wanting to be addressed, your lifestyle. Yeah. And I don't think that's right. I think you can address someone the way they were addressed, but you could have your own personal beliefs on things.
Yeah.
But if you're addressing someone, I think that's a form of mutual
It's a matter of respect.
Yeah.
I think it's like you have to, if you're going to have a pronoun that isn't predominantly obvious or a pronoun you prefer to go by, then you have to kind of take someone mispronouncing it or saying the wrong thing with a grain of salt. If I don't know you and I by accident, like I think I did this a couple weeks ago on the bus, I just asked this person if I could sit next to them, and I said like, hey, do you mind if I sit next, I said like, excuse me, miss, do you mind if I sit next to you? And after I sat down, they corrected me, and I was like, oh, sorry, obviously like I didn't know. And it was great for them to bring that to my attention, but they didn't get upset. They didn't go like, no, of course not,
Because you have to think in the concept of humanity that being able to openly talk about transgenderism just in the short kind of time frame, like you say in the last 100 years, nowadays it's widely accepted to talk about it and let people be addressed the way they want to be. But that change doesn't happen overnight. It takes time for one whole culture to adapt to that kind of openness, and also for people to I mean, if you're bred for like 20, 30 years having one ideal, and then all of a sudden you're told to change. Yeah. It's difficult. It's very, very difficult to all of a sudden just snap something in your brain and go, oh, I'm going to do that from now on. That's always going to be, and there's no worries. I'm never going to slip up. It doesn't happen. No. That's not how life works, unfortunately.
Just with a grain of salt. Take everything with a grain of salt.
As long as the other person's not a dick about it. As long as the person doing it is not malicious about it, it's fine.
I've had issues where like people.
Well, that's saying from a straight white male, so I don't think I had much say in it. Anyway,
mansplain.
Yeah, exactly. I got accused of that the other day. I got annoyed. Because I explain my lame jokes if they don't hit, and someone said that was mansplaining one time when I said a joke and it didn't go down well, and I was just like, get it, because of this, and like, you're mansplaining right now. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm just trying to cover my ass, trying to get out of this awkward situation.
Yeah. You guys want to know something I learned today?
No.
I mean, you like it'd be really bad for the audience for us to just shoot you down.
And say no.
In my journey of self-discovery. No,
sure.
Yeah.
Right.
No.
Is this your coming out?
No. My most Kiwis don't know this, but New Zealand law regarding nuclear power is no vessels of transportation within New Zealand are nuclear powered.
Yeah,
under no circumstance.
Yeah, they have it on the Rainbow Warrior.
Yeah. Well, nuclear, meaning like if someone were to make a nuclear has been in the country before. So the university.
They got banned in the 70s, isn't it?
Well, no, because the University of Canterbury had, from, I think, 62 to 67, they had a nuclear core that was given to them by the United States. Mm-hmm. There was a huge uproar regarding it all, because back then it was just, nuclear was seen as bad, it was seen as terrible, there wasn't research, it was just
and evidence is proven.
I mean, to be fair.
That it's completely safe and nothing bad ever happens.
But
Japan.
The law only is directed towards transport.
Oh, so you can have you can have a reactor in New Zealand.
Yep.
Huh. Although was it? I think John Key just kind of shed all over that.
Now, John Key, for those that don't remember, or those who probably won't remember, he was a former Prime Minister before.
He was our last elected Prime Minister because I don't really take
Bill English. He quit halfway.
Yeah, Bill English. Like, Bill English was the little engine that couldn't. He always wanted to win an election on his own, and he never did.
And the only time he could have become president was someone else, not president, sorry, Prime Minister, was someone else winning
somebody else
and then quitting halfway.
Like,
bad for the guy, kind of. He's just like, I'm in charge of the party that's ruling the country, and then you lose. But to be honest, Jacinda's pretty great.
The thing is, John Key, and actually Jacinda, John Key, I hated him. But he was very charismatic. He definitely had a way of talking with people and doing things in that way that worked. And he has a presence that works that way. And Jacinda Ardern is also managing to do the same thing. She has a charisma and she has a way of doing things, and she knows how to use it well. Bill English is a stone. He's just a bland, grey thing that exists, and people shuffled him along. They drew a smile on him, and they hoped people would vote for him, and it failed miserably.
Yeah. No. Now, what are your true opinions?
Tell us how it is, Jason.
Yeah.
What's the truth?
I'm secretly having an affair with Bill English.
Oh, you tried to cover.
He didn't want to hang out tonight, and I'm just a little jilted.
Look. Sometimes you have to spoon back, alright?
Yeah.
You know, that's the problem, mate.
We just gotta hold on.
Spooning has to be mutual.
He doesn't understand that I like being the little spoon. It is warm and comfortable,
everyone
and I
likes being,
feel safe. Okay? I feel safe.
I genuinely hope one day over this.
I can't stand being the little spoon. This is a little big old domineering. There's some girls, like, typically if they're shorter than, like, a lot shorter than me, they like being the biggest spoon. Okay. And I don't get that.
Okay.
But I'm like, okay, I'll roll with it. And it just feels so weird and uncomfortable.
Okay, like, I am the polar opposite because two things. I think that is hilariously amazing and it amuses me so much. It actually prevents me from sleeping because it's like, this is so hilarious.
I can't do it. It just feels abnormal. And you know me and hugging.
Yeah,
it's hard enough for me to let my guard down with someone else. And then for them to constantly hug me.
I feel that.
I can imagine because you're like, there's somebody hugging me and they are behind me and I cannot see them. Are they the same person? Are they the same person after I turned around? Are they going to stab me in the back? I should stare them down.
When you are spooning a girl, the hair is annoying.
Look at them before they get me.
To be fair, the hair is very annoying.
I can wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah, and it gets in the way. But to be honest, I'd rather have that than someone spoon me. So I just don't see the appeal for me personally.
You just have to make sacrifices.
I just can't do it. And I've just never been able to. I mean, I've tried. I sometimes
I
go with it, but I'm just lying there going, "Is she asleep yet? So I can get out of this position and just sneak away."
I don't think we can go any further in this relationship unless you can learn to change.
I've ended many of a relationship because of me being the small
based on the spoon mechanics.
Yes, I've got
the power dynamic behind spooning.
Because everyone that knows me knows I don't like hugging people. And you know that, Jason. You've tried to hug me many times, and I've punched you in the face many of the times as a result.
I mean, I should have stopped going in for a hug, going in for a cheeky grope, going in for a lick.
It's mainly when I come out of the shower, you try to do it, and it's just super awkward. I'm naked. I've got the towel wrapped around me, but if I let go of my arms, the towel will drop. And
there's just that warm heat and steam coming off your body.
We've lived too long together, Jason. We've lived too long together. All right, so we've reached that point of the show because I want to get off hugging me naked. Where we read out
He means
email.
nothing, Bill. He means nothing.
It's not Bill. It's James.
Bill English.
Oh, Bill English. Sorry, I thought you meant Bill, one of our...
Oh, no, James is nothing to me either, Bill English. James, you're great.
So, as we do every time during this part of the podcast, we read out an email that we've gotten. It seems to be the trend that only one person sends us the email, which is James B.
Spam.
No, they didn't go because I watched this. But not that we don't appreciate you, James, but anyone else listening to this, you're more than welcome to send us an email. Actually, we did have another email, but I have to talk to Ollie about it. But we got from James B.
Is it fanfic?
I don't know what it means.
James B, the fourth unseen co-host of this podcast, apparently. So James B sends us an email, and I do apologise ahead of time, James B. We will rip into it. He starts off saying, Dave, great update. He's talking about the NPCs of Wildmont shows that we do. Dave, great update. This was the best non-Ollie show so far. And this is the one with Thomas on it.
Oh, my ego.
Yeah, Thomas, wow.
I'm not hurt at all, James.
What? Well, to be fair, he did send another email when you were on it, but we didn't do a podcast then. So. And I may have deleted that or made that up. So, whatever goes in.
It's fine. I don't need your validation to know that I did a good job.
Okay, if you want to send an email to Jason, good luck. Anyway,
you can reach him at
we'll continue.
# tweet Jason Mercer.
If you do want to send an email to us, just send it to d20multiverse@gmail.com. Anyway, so he continues. Thomas was outstanding for a guy that has no notes. Oh, you put that in.
To be fair.
You put a smiley face. Oh no, was it a winky? No, just a smiley face.
What?
So.
Not a cheeky wink?
No, no,
I'll
cheeky
take
wink.
it either way.
Oh no, he just
didn't
meant
cheeky
it.
winky
He
you.
just meant
He
it.
just
meant
brought
You
it
had
out.
no notes.
Seriously, Thomas. Oh, so seriously, Thomas was very good. I also love the audio drop you added. No, like you guys, no one around me gets my awesome editing. The commenters
I liked it, except for when I rewatched it.
Did you get it?
When you yes,
Because
I did get it.
You finally got it, yeah.
I did get it, but I was just like, the first time watching it, I was like, Dave, forgot to put something in again. But then I watched it again, I was like, no.
Because the thing
it has a deeper meaning.
Yeah, because in the live episode they randomly jumped 30 minutes back in time. So the bit that I did at the beginning of the NPCs of Wildmont was part of the episode that I did later on. So at the start of the episode was a clip from the middle of the episode. And when I go, wait, and then I just don't mouth anything out of my mouth, and I go, this will make sense later, and then I do that later in the episode.
Yeah.
So it made sense.
Yeah.
Some people, I got a few comments on that.
I got it.
I was proud
I
of
got
myself. I thought of that all by myself. So
I liked it.
Fuck you. Jason, I don't know why I'm putting the hate on Jason. He's just staring at me disapprovingly.
I'm just here to be judged.
He's just going like, wow, from a black sheep, what a black sheep.
Anyway, let's continue on the email about Thomas.
Ooh.
Anyway, you okay there, Jason?
It's fine.
Okay, good.
I'm waiting for a roast.
As I've said before, I don't like live shows either. That seems to be the trend. A lot of people don't really like the live shows. And I thought I was the only one, but it turns out to be a widespread thing.
I actually quite enjoyed this one.
Thanks for ruining that. The sound cutting out and the sound cutting out, the playing it up for the live crowd, it just doesn't cut it for me. When I watched it on YouTube, I couldn't hear anything Ashley said until about 3/4 throughout the show, which was common. Everyone kind of saw that as well. So
I mean, it's kind of like she doesn't say much, but when she says something, it should be there.
Yeah, she's barely there. So when she is there, make sure we can hear her.
Yeah.
Admittedly, I missed the episode. I haven't caught up yet because I've been.
Yeah, I figured you wouldn't. So
I'm trying to. But,
it's like a nail pulling kind of episode. It's a
tough watch.
The thing is though, like, is it more of a? Do you think it was more of a issue in the sense of they didn't set up the like, was it a tech issue or was it that them as performers weren't
story
really...
I heard, and I read this on YouTube, not YouTube, I think it was on Twitter or something there, that it was a union issue. So the ones that set up all the audio on that wasn't the regular staff that did it. They had to give it to the union of due to union rules over there. They had to give the task to the ones that are operating the theatre.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I don't think they was prepared for the audio and how a live show works on Twitch or anything like that. So that's where the problems lie. They couldn't go in there and fix it because there was a union. They couldn't touch essentially that equipment. They could give them guides and kind of show them, like, not show them what to do. It's like, you should do this, but it was all outside their control. So that's my understanding of why it was so bad, is because it was outside of their control. It wasn't a critical role. They helped with the setup, but they couldn't actually do anything.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And I like, oddly, those screw you. Those kind of rules are actually really good because they do make sure that people don't get shoved out of work. But I think going into those, it would have been. Well, no, that's the thing. Going into that, they should have taken into account that they I think the Critical Role team will know better in the future that if they're in that kind of circumstance, they may have to give extra time to do actual test runs.
To get it right, yeah.
To make sure it's actually running right, just because there's a completely separate team running it. I mean,
it's hard to test those things though because it's in a live environment. I mean,
it is like I mean, I think depending, like, the audience has a forgiving enough nature that
as well
if they had done a test segment briefly and that they mentioned, we're going to be doing a test for the bit, don't worry about it, but you mean feel free to have a look. People wouldn't mind that necessarily, I don't think, as much as they would mind the feed fucking up.
Yeah.
You know? I think it's better to have, they would probably better to have, played, done a run anyway and just made sure it was sorted. But that's something that, I mean, that's a hindsight effort though. They'll know in the future, or at the very least, that theatre will now know how to do that in the future.
Or when they do set up something like that, they'll have more clear either instructions or access to fix these kind of problems if it happens. So
Yeah.
But I don't know how the union rules work over there.
I think on the base level, without having to try to find out more details about that particular theatre, I think on the base level, the idea is that the union, like you shouldn't be bringing in contractors to take away jobs from the staff that are on site, and on a good, well unionized site, they will have those things in place to prevent that from happening.
Yeah.
Which on one side is a good thing, but if they're not familiar with a particular performance style, that
the
there's
scenario.
there's definitely stuff that they need to work out.
See, I would have, like, in an ideal world, they'd have all the audio technical equipment set up and rigged up to the sound stage at the back, and then have, when it comes to the output of the audio equipment, route it through someone else. So they'd have basically the on-stage crew, as well as, like, the crew that works at the theater, as well as someone off to the side that is from the Critical Role team, to have the audio go from them to the Twitch.
Well, the problem is, this is all speculation. We don't actually know how they actually had it set up. They could have had it set up that way. We don't know the exact problem why it went wrong, but that's just what I heard. Whether it's true or not, don't know.
I mean, I'm glad we had a complete tangent and deciphered the whole system based on...
Well, that's what we do. We have a serious talk that we don't. So let's go to the don't. Congratulations on getting Ollie to use his phone correctly. So, one of the gripes I was having is Ollie doing a portrait. Now, he's just sent me the video for this week. I haven't opened it yet.
Ooh.
I am going to open it right now and see. Yeah, see, he's done it the proper way, finally.
Okay.
It took him 4 weeks
Man.
to get it right, and he finally got it right, because he hadn't sent me that video.
How are we celebrating?
We're just saying good job, Ollie. He hadn't sent me the video before we were recording with Max, and I realised that halfway through, it's like, oh crap, we've got to cut to a clip of Ollie, but I don't know if he sent it. So I said on the video, it's either going to be a clip of Ollie or Paramore, because he always played. You do remember he always played Paramore when he lived here?
Yeah.
And so I was just like, okay, it's either got to be Ollie or Paramore, and he sent me a video in time, because he asked to send it tomorrow. I'm like, it gets released tonight, so no.
Ollie,
so he actually sent it. It's a good job on Ollie. I give him props on that.
Ollie has a very he's got a very cyclic series of songs and playlists that he likes to play, and it's long enough that it varies from time to time, but when you live with him, it is not long enough with enough variation. And he's cool with it, but there's a point where you're like, oh god, kill me now.
Yeah, I know. But because I share a YouTube channel, so I see the songs he plays all the time. It's the same ones over and over again.
Oh, that's
what's that? What's that song? There's those two guys playing pilots or whatever.
What?
God, what are they called?
Oh, those two guys. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the guys.
Yeah, those guys
with the faces.
Yeah.
The organs.
Shut up.
Oh my god, and they breathe.
Oh, oxygen.
Oh
god.
And maybe
this is
make
going to annoy me. So let these guys banter while I look this up.
Do they make music?
Yeah, they do. Fuck yeah.
Probably instruments and all their voices and all machinery or electronics.
Is it Tibetan throat singing? Is that what he's
21
into?
Pilots.
Oh, yeah.
21 Pilots.
There's only 2 of them.
I know there's 21. There were 21, I think, when they started the band or something like that.
Oh, they've had some issues.
Yeah, that's why they're musicians.
We're not getting back into S Club 7 because we brought that up more than one podcast.
More than we should have ever brought.
More than we should have. We talked a lot about that.
Anyway, the email continues. I like where the story is going. This is about Critical Role again. It's getting very interesting again. I love a good mystery. I think the female captain is a cleric of the thing that forward Patreon.
Oh, what's the... No, it was...
Damn it, you're remembering it. I couldn't.
Well, I didn't bring my notes today either, so...
Oh no, Max was getting it right. Sorry, I was mixing you up. Anyway, something like that. Well, he's part cleric, part warlock combo. Yeah, I think I really like that captain. It'll be interesting what happens. Dave, I also want to say I appreciate all the time and effort you put into editing the show and putting it online for us fans to enjoy. Take care, James. Now that comment comes from because I had a mental breakdown on the comment section.
I did read some of that.
Yes.
And then I kind of went, I'm gonna save this for later. And
don't do IT because I was very frustrated at work because I work in IT, and when you're trying to walk someone through an IT problem who's not IT savvy, it gets very frustrating. And
It gets tedious.
tedious, yeah.
I had this the other day, and I got told that I was mansplaining for trying to explain how a router works.
Yeah, it's horrible.
It's insane. Don't do IT.
Because the problem is that over time you learn techniques of how to explain things to people. But the problem is you try and go to the easiest technique or what technique people understand the best. But the problem is everyone's got a different variation of how complicated you can make instructions. So if you get someone who's more savvy, they feel like you're dumbing it down for them and they feel condescended to. But if you say it to someone and they're not that tech savvy, they accuse you of just overcomplicating things. So there's no win-win scenario. Sometimes you match it right and you're like on point and you get through that call really easy.
So frustrating.
But most of the time it's all over the place. So I was at work, I was very frustrated, and someone intended it to be sarcastic, but this last comment, his last words on it is Dave's destroying the channel.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I was just...
It was like flex tape and a mattress on a sinking boat. And
I spend hours of time doing research and editing, and there's a lot of times you guys don't realize that that if there's a corruption issue or something like that, I'm going through and spending another 3 hours doing it. And that particular one, so this was last week, I lost the entire edit at 12 a.m. I didn't get to bed until 4 a.m. I had to wake up at 8 a.m. to go to work. I was knackered. I was going through withdrawal, because one thing I have announced on the channel, and the first time I ever announced on the channel that I struggle with it, is nicotine withdrawal, because I'm a smoker, or trying to be an ex-smoker and trying to cut down. Been rough for the past couple of weeks. Very, very stressed, and it was just, I read that comment and it's like, why do I ever bother? And I just broke down, and I was very aggressive and very over the top. Normally I'm pretty controlled, I like to think, especially when it comes to online comments, and that broke me. And upon reflection, I did apologise, explain myself, and I feel like hopefully I explained myself well. I'm sorry, whoever it was that, I think it was By the Sea or something.
It was like Ocean by the Sea or something.
Yeah, he's a commenter who does a lot of videos, and I felt really bad for having a go. But that's one of the things I'm still getting used to, is when you put yourself out there on the internet, is the negative that comes along, or taking a comment not intended to be negative, but it's just how you perceive it at the time. Just came off rough. So.
Sorry?
Thanks for playing that.
Sorry?
So I do apologise,
but
I'll learn from it, and that's why I kept the comment up. I could have got it down.
I went back to it, and because I saw in the Discord, I saw everyone was like,
everyone was massively supportive. I was in the wrong headspace to.
Yeah, I think you made a valid apology. The sea of thy soul.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't know if he listens to the podcast, but I'm extremely.
Oh God, I'm so glad that the name was not Ocean by the Sea, because you're already a body of water. Yeah. You're next to another body of water. Where do you start? Where do you end?
That's gonna be that's literally gonna be my podcast name, Ocean by the Sea.
And it's just every episode's about a new ocean. It's an ocean podcast.
Hi guys, we're here with Ocean by the Sea, and we're here to talk about bodies of water.
We're here with the Pacific Ocean. Listen. And you're just literally by the Pacific Ocean, just having a mic.
It's like a boom mic. Most expensive podcast. 2018.
Next week, we're going to the Indian Ocean. Not sure how we'll get there yet.
But we'll make it.
I only have literally 2 listeners, but we'll find out.
Well, the silly thing is we'll create this. We'll get it going, and we'll travel the world and record bodies of water, and then we'll do our TED Talk on our travels of the world and our bodies of water.
The thing that and the clips from the show is just water.
The things that people don't understand is water is like people. It's there and it makes noise. And we went out there and we listened.
We heard. We experienced the water. We heard you, water.
We were so overwhelmed with just emotions that we felt like we were drowning. It was beautiful and also kind of terrifying because I'm scared of drowning.
Man, I'm so ready for a TED Talk. I'm so ready
for this Ocean by the Sea podcast that you do.
Oh my god. Antarctic Ocean, 8 out of 10. Too much
The
salt.
question is, how long would you make an episode? Because there's only so long you can keep it up.
You would obviously, if you're doing a body of water based podcast, you would do your episodes based on the size of the body of water. So your Pacific Ocean podcast would obviously be months, if not years long.
One continuously episode for a year.
But like if you're doing like a bit of the bathtub water that you like didn't quite manage to get down because there was something clogged in the bottom, that might be a minute.
You should put a hidden message in a year-long podcast. And the challenge is for someone to find it.
It's like at 3/4 of the way through, you're like, if anyone's listening, please contact me. I will wire transfer you $50,000.
And then someone.
I'm being held at the side of this ocean against my will.
And after years and years of waiting, someone finally calls, and you're just like, "Oh yeah, I was lying. I completely made that up." Anyway, here's the Indian Ocean.
I feel like it would be just like Stan, like the song Stan from Eminem. Like you'd put your messages into this year-long podcast, and you'll realize like, oh, I've still got to submit it. Nobody would have heard it yet. Fuck.
Just imagine.
No, because I'd be like, oh, damn it, I have to fucking edit this.
Imagine me. You would never see me again because I'm in a room just listening to the entire podcast.
It would just be like, you would become such an introvert and be like, Dave, no one's seen you in like 3 weeks. What is going on?
You're just sitting there a jittering mess. It's like, I just think the sound levels, like, they just kind of peak here.
And no one quite grasps the water.
And then every time, like, I live in Wellington, so every time I walk on the street, see a seagull, I just have PTSD. PTSD. I just freak the fuck out.
What is that?
Yeah, it's like, no, not again.
You know what? I think our first body of water should be the third lake of Rotorua. The long-awaited third lake of Rotorua.
The lake is so beachfront after all these years. Just been ignored.
Debunking the New Zealand myths.
Imagine being third place in Rotorua and you're just like, the first two, like I'm just like right on the side. It's like the other two get nominated and talked
I'm from
about all the
viewing
time.
distance. What's going on?
I'm literally connected to one of them. I don't know what the
Can
hell.
you imagine trying to pick? Like there'll be uproars. It will be like the
rioting in the streets.
The elections for the best lake
Rotorua.
the best bird elections we've been having at the moment. It'll be the same thing for the thing. Like what lake should feature in Oceans by the Sea, the podcast?
And then when you nominate all the other lakes, just stop running for some reason. They just dry out, and then you've made lakes depressed.
Oh my god.
Well, there's one lake that is clearly like overfilled because it's been draining the other lakes to make sure that it's like the big one.
It's on steroids for the show.
I'm like Tuttlewhitter and I'm ready to be filmed, boys.
Enough with
Next, Peter.
I think we've reached that point.
Documentary.
We've reached that point on the podcast where we're gonna have to wrap it up because I think when we start thinking lakes,
the personification of lakes.
I think we've reached that point.
No alcohol was involved.
No alcohol, believe it or not. Drugs, maybe, but not alcohol. So thank you everyone for listening. Whatever this was, it just ends up being a.
I love you. Saying thank you for listening to whatever this was has become your end line.
I like it.
The end card.
It pretty much sums up every single podcast because we just so you guys know, as a little inside knowledge, we don't talk about what we're going to talk about on the podcast. The only thing I know what we're going to talk about is the email from Bill.
Yeah, I think.
Sorry, from James, because he's the only one that's in
I
this
think
email.
genuinely the second one, you were like, okay, let's talk about comics. And
Yeah.
then it went just like tangent.
I think that's the problem that we went into, is that we didn't make the podcast how it should be based on our personalities. We tried to make it to what other podcasts were. Other podcasts had a theme or something like that. We just want to banter for a while and just have a laugh. Banter! And hopefully make someone else laugh. So thank you all for listening. A massive shout out to our Patrons, all 6 of you. Recently, someone has upped their pledge to $50 a month. Which seems crazy, and also means that what we said was once we hit $50 a month, we would start making 3 shows on our channel instead of 2.
Nice.
So once Ollie gets back, and if that pledge is actually true, because it obviously hasn't gone through yet, we'll commit to that, and that's going to be interesting. And we're going to write some more goals for the Patreon, and there is a possibility one of the goals is making the podcast a weekly podcast, because at the moment it's fortnightly, and that will be interesting how we do about it. Because we want to upgrade the sound equipment as well. We just run off a Yeti
This
mic
is good. Yeah,
in the
well,
middle. I want to get separate mics for everyone and
Like-
make it a bit more clear. It helps me with editing.
Just Yeti. It's my Yeti mic.
Oh,
And it's
ooh.
lovely.
It is your Yeti mic. You've saved us a lot, but we've got our own Yeti mic now. It makes us feel better.
I mean, I do. Ollie said
Ollie's
that would
got
be the
it
one
for
replacing it.
himself.
I'm like, oh yes. How are you going to replace it when you live somewhere else now, Oliver?
Exactly. I like you do this.
yourself.
No one
Yeah,
can
no
see
one
you.
can see me doing. I'm doing a very hilarious movement across the chair with
I know.
facial expressions and hand gestures.
Jason, I think hilarious needs little air quotes above it.
Oh.
I mean, admittedly, I didn't do the air quotes, but I feel like I did that in my tone, Dave. You would know if you'd listened to Oceans as much as we do. The subtleties to the how
I would know if I watched
sound
Ocean by
you
the Sea.
truly
podcast.
listen to the ripples of the water.
If you want Oceans by the Sea to be the third show in the D20 Afterhours, hashtag tweet Oceans by the Sea Mercer.
Okay, we're losing it.
Or send us like an actual like landscape video of the nearest body of water.
And it's just some people in the middle of America that just takes pictures of their toilet and send it to us.
And just in case you're curious, you can join me at my podcast at the Plateaus by the Islands.
Stop plugging non-existent podcasts. So anyway, thank you all our Patreons. If you do want to become one, it really helps us out. All the money's going to go into this channel. Me and Ollie are going to sit down next week and just plug out what we want to do with the money that we're going to get. We're going to be covering expenses. We're going to hopefully put the live D&D show that we're going to get running on SoundCloud and iTunes and all that as well. But we want to plug more money into the channel, and every cent that you contribute goes into making the channel better, and that's what we're planning on doing. So the link will be down below if you want to contribute, and it really helps us out. So even a comment on this video helps us out. So just any love you can show. If you want to send us an email, send it to d20multiverse@gmail.com. Join James. And because the reason why we stretch out that email, we only get 1 email a week. So yeah, send us an email. We can I hopefully rip into you maybe. Yeah, in a nice way. And yeah, make sure you follow us on Twitter and like us on
Rip
YouTube,
into you
all that stuff.
softly with
I had to do all the end card stuff. So Jason, any last words? Thomas, any last words?
Follow my podcast.
Okay, anyway, back to Jason. Last words.
I just wanted to make people clear. I think they're very.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I was actually thinking that the Pacific Ocean probably sounds a little
Okay, we're
bit better than
eating
the
this.
Atlantic.
Thank you, everybody.
I'm thinking about you thinking.
Okay, I'm over this. Okay, all right, we're done. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Goodbye.
See you all.